It's you liberals who have lifted them up, Howard.
Paul, you conservatives make a mistake. You can't afford to strangle hope in people. Without hope, people become dangerous.
No, Howard. You liberals have let them invade our society. You give them jobs, political jobs.
Paul, you missed the point. It's only the smart ones we move up.
That makes it even worse.
No, we have to move them up. If we leave a smart one in the ghetto, he might develop into a leader against us. But if we raise him up into white society, we neutralize him. He feels compelled to try to act like us. He loses his identity and his racial anger, if he has any. He becomes alien to his brothers. They realize he sold them out, and they grow to hate him. He becomes worthless to them and safe for us. No, thank you. In fact, in his love for the creature comforts, except for his color, he's become one of us.
And we are all the way live right here at WHPR TV 33. And I thank you all so much for tuning into Feedback, a positive image production by Hood Research. My name is Theo Broughton, co-founder of Hood Research, and my co-host,
The BD, and we welcome you to the program.
And I want to start off by saying thank you so much to those of you who helped to sponsor this program. And for those of you who are considering a sponsorship, please make your check or money order out to Hood Research. But if you prefer, you can make it out to WHPR Broadcasting Company. We have no objection to that. But we ask that you mail it to Hood Research at P.O. Box 4416, Detroit, Michigan, 48204. Again, that's P.O. Box 4416, Detroit, Michigan, 48204, so that we can make sure it gets credited for this specific program. And I gotta say good morning. Good morning to Barbara and Vera. Good morning to Rosa. And good morning to Sam and to Barbara and Clementine and who else? I think of Claire and to Keith. Are you awake? I want to say good morning to Sylvia and to Dee Dee. I want to say good morning to Jay way over on the east side. He calls and he attends our meetings. And by the way, there is a meeting scheduled for this coming Saturday. And we are going to celebrate Father's Day. You know, fathers always say, moms get all the attention and they get all of the presents and all of it. Well, let me tell you right now, this coming Saturday, which is June the 9th, Hood Research regular monthly meeting, we're going to celebrate Father's Day. And we have prizes and we have refreshments. And it's going to take place on Grand River in Wyoming. That's at the Dabo Center. The address is 12048 Grand River. Some people say 12048 Grand River. That's cool too. 12048 Grand River on the corner of Wyoming. We are there from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. And we're looking forward to enjoying this coming Saturday, celebrating Father's Day. And we're looking forward to you fathers being there so that you can't say, we don't lift up the fathers, we don't give praise to the fathers, and we don't celebrate them, because that's coming up this coming Saturday. Now, I want to know who you want to say good morning to, the BD.
One of our newer viewers, Frida Washington, I saw her again last week. And it's kind of interesting how people can scroll through, but we welcome that too. Scroll through and happen to say, wow, there's Theo or there's the BD, and then take an interest in what we're doing. Also, shout outs to Brother Shane, Sister Jackie, Sister Ruth, and these are, I should say, truly street warriors, because they're out there trying to, on a regular basis, enlighten the community. Brother Smith Bay, Brother Fred. And again, if you have family, friends, co-workers, neighbors, have them tune in. And as I always say, have pen and paper handy for valuable information you may want to record.
Absolutely. I got to say good morning to Abana and Tawana And, this past weekend, there was a lot going on, and I got a chance to meet some additional new people. And also, got to say good morning to Don and Bill and Tom. And I want to share this with those who are tuned in. There's something they call Lucy's. For those who may not know, it's a single cigarette. Not to mention that they don't have other things. However, single cigarette. And in gas stations and some stores, they will sell you a single cigarette. I'm told that cigarettes by the pack now are $8, so for whatever reason, somebody would buy the single cigarette at $1 each. That would make the pack $20 if there's 20 cigarettes in the pack. But back to this single cigarette. When a person goes in to purchase one, you have no idea whether or not the clerk has gone to the restroom and wiped his hands, her hands, whoever it is, and comes back, opens a sealed pack of cigarettes. It must have been sealed for a reason. Perhaps because they go in your mouth. But the seal is broken, and this person, who may or may not have washed his or her hands, handles the cigarette. You've heard of, what is it, what do they have? Hepatitis A, and is passed through, by mouth, by hands, by feces, etc. In addition to that, the person then lays the cigarette on the counter or on the turnstile, whichever they happen to use in that particular store. So now you got the possibility of unwashed hands, nasty counter, dirty money, which is laid on the counter as well, and you're going to put that cigarette in your mouth. We hear there's a hepatitis A epidemic in the city of Detroit. Well, we keep hearing it, has to do with restaurants, etc. Well, I maintain it may not only be restaurants. It may be being passed by these nasty cigarettes. Now, it's illegal to sell a single cigarette. Maybe for health reasons. But it's illegal. And people are being told, well, call the police department. You can call 224-DOPE or wherever, tell them. However, there is a federal organization, ATF, which stands for Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms. I say that's where you should call. Give them something to do. Report this place. If enough people, caring people, are observing that, and they continue to call them, somebody has to do something. And then if it's not attended to, maybe you need to get the media involved. Give them something to do. They always want to put stereotypes on the people in our community. Let them put stereotypes on these gas stations. Anyway, that's my editorial, I guess, for this morning. I want you to know we have a guest with us, and her name is Monique Baker McCormick. I often think about the spice when I think about your last name. Helps people to remember. Say, if you all go in the grocery store and you see McCormick spices on the shelf, think about Monique. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
Just what?
No, I was just going to say that was funny that you talked about McCormick spices. The McCormick spices are what I give out at some of my fundraising events.
Oh,
Actually give
okay.
those out so people,
Okay.
while they're cooking,
Right.
and
They're thinking about
they're using the spices, they remember Monique Baker McCormick.
Oh, good. Let's see now. McCormick makes cinnamon. Cinnamon is good for what do they say? Reducing blood pressure. I think I read that someplace. Yeah, that's a good one.
Paprika.
Monique Baker McCormick. Turmeric is good for reducing cancer, so that's a good one too. Yes. Well, anyway, enough of that. We're doing marketing right now, but we want people to know just this. Who is Monique Baker McCormick?
Well, I am Monique Baker McCormick, and I'm a candidate for Wayne County Commissioner, Northwest Detroit area. That would include the zip codes 48219, 48235, 48223, and 48227. This is the area in which I was born and raised. Not only born and raised, but educated and also saved. The church that I was baptized in is in that district. It's now known as Liberty Temple. But when I was a little girl,
Oh, Greenfield.
on Greenfield and 6 Mile, it was called Temple of Faith.
Oh.
Yeah, and I was baptized in that little smaller church that sits next to Liberty Temple. So I care very much about my community because it's who I am. My business is there of 20 years. I'm a real estate broker and owner, Unique Realty. I own my building and business there, right off of the Lodge in Greenfield. My home is there. My daughters attended Detroit Public Schools right in the district, and so did I. Henry Ford High School, I'm a Trojan. Ludington Middle School, where my daughters attended, where I was the parent president of the
PTA?
of the parent group, where I organized parents and community to make sure that Robert Bob didn't close Ludington.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm passionate about my community. I'm passionate about jobs and not jails. Right now, Wayne County spends about $400 million every year on mass incarceration, and most of those people look like us. I'd like to see more of those dollars used for job creation, vocational programs. We have a vocational center right in District 6. That is Randolph. It's underused.
Oh, yes. I
I
heard
would
about
like
that.
to see the GPA lowered as well, because when I was in school, Randolph was just really starting, and a lot of my classmates, they attended vocational school, and they're successful today because of it. And anybody who wanted to get in the program could. And that's how it should be now. I'd also like to see our seniors stay in their homes. They're still losing their home to foreclosure,
Yeah,
tax foreclosures, and it doesn't make any sense,
I agree.
you know. And then, of course, for small businesses like myself, I've been, like I said, in my district for 20 years. And I think a lot of the small businesses in the community, in the neighborhoods, we have paid our dues, but we get very little for it. So I would like to see more grant dollars, free money, grant dollars coming into the neighborhoods so that we can expand and grow our business. And as a veteran of the United States Army, I believe in service. I believe that we all have to do our part to make our country and our community better. you know, if we don't fight for us, then no one else will.
Well, right
And
about
so
that.
for the last 10 years, most of you know that I've been challenging Wayne County government and the wasteful spending of Wayne County government. Uh, that failed jail that cost us $1 million a month. I challenged that before they even uh,
Started it.
started the whole
Yeah.
project. And so I've been there fighting for us, for education, for roads. We finally are getting Otter Drive repaved after 10 years of fighting.
Oh, goodness.
So I just care. I
Yeah.
care about my community, and I want to see some things done. And as the next Wayne County Commissioner, I will have the power to do that because I will have the not only the title, but also I have relationships with other elected officials, and I'm going to get some job centers in Northwest Detroit. I'm really going to start with Henry Ford High School. So that's,
Right.
you know,
Okay.
those are some of the things that I would like to see done and that I've done.
Oh, okay. We have somebody on the phone. Who is?
Yes. Hello, caller. You're on the air. Would you share your name and how you're viewing us, please?
Can y'all hear me?
Happy Monday.
Happy Monday. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, okay. All right. Theo, you coming through the phone like a echo, and I can hardly hear your guest. So there's been some technical
Oh,
difficulties last night on the other show.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know, but you say you
But
can
you
hear
can
me, and I
hear-
can hear you clearly.
You can
now.
hear me.
Call
Okay.
to give you the view
But-
of alcohol, tobacco, firearms. What's the phone number?
Right. You got, yes, the number.
Yeah, the phone number is 313
Mm-hmm.
202
202.
36
What else?
202 3640.
3640. 202 3640.
Yeah, they're
ATF.
located on the Brewery Park, 1155 Brewery Park.
Oh.
Yeah, 300. So it's a privately held company in Detroit. Y'all know the Brewery Park is right there inside the Eastern Market. So y'all already know who in charge.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah,
They
I
give-
just read that they got condos on Cass and Yoke. The condos in the New Center area, New Amsterdam Historical District. The price starts at $400,000 and up to $1.2 million.
Oh, okay. Well, so much for
Also,
affordable.
We got a Martha Evans, who's the president CEO of American Red Cross.
Uh-huh.
Her salary is $651,957 plus expenses, and the only your donation out of every dollar is only about 9 cents to help the people in need. So once again, we got charity porn going on, where they say they disguise to help the people
Right,
when they're
right.
really ripping
Not
off
helping the people.
Thank you for taking my call. Just some
Wow.
things to think about and for people to
yeah, it is.
maybe research for themselves.
Right. Well, thank you
Yep.
for that.
Okay.
Good Lord. 9 cents out of every dollar is spent to help people. The Red Cross.
I'll just say quickly, I know being a federal employee, I've been in situations where we are asked through the CFC, which formerly was the torch drive, I believe, to donate, and now they have something where they will actually let you know the percentage of your money that goes to the actual program and what goes to administrative costs and such. So for 9 cents out of every dollar, they can't get a
Red
dollar
Cross.
out of me.
I know that's right. I remember that. I made a presentation to the staff at the main post office, and they give code numbers for the organizations, and I made one for Dr. Claude Anderson because there were people there who donated to the Harvest Institute.
Yeah, I agree. There are code numbers, and I
Right.
just made it a point again, and we'll get to our guest, is that
Sure.
I would make sure that like Black United Forum, Urban League, etc., because at least I knew these were geared towards our community. Because when you
Right.
throw it into a larger pool, you never know how many
get it.
people within that who are distributed certain benefits from it are of our ethnicity.
Right. That's right. That's right. Now, tell us, Monique Baker McCormick, Wayne County Commissioner candidate. How do you see your employment or your jobs program working in the schools?
Well,
We'll take a
as
break.
a alumni
break at
at
9:30.
Henry Ford High School, I just recently spoke with the principal about those efforts, and it wouldn't really take much to have a jobs program in the school.
Okay.
They would provide a location in the school for students to go to.
Is this
with-
for counseling or classroom? What it?
this would be a actual room
Okay.
for them to go into to seek employment.
Oh,
So it would be
okay.
someone there to help them,
I
to
see.
guide them
Okay.
with information on various jobs in the community. Yes.
Will they be helping them to do resumes?
Resume writing, interviewing skills, things of that nature.
Oh,
Yes.
that's nice. That's nice, because that is one of the things that is missing in the schools now. There have been so many classes removed. Seems like it was secretly that our young students need to be exposed to. And I talk about JA for those who may not know. That's Junior Achievement.
I was a member of Junior Achievement.
Yeah,
Yes.
to expose them to going into business for themselves.
That's right.
And that was eased. It was just eased out so slick. And starting back in 1998, 99, when John Engler was the governor, there were the classes that just over the time, just slowly but
Yeah.
surely.
Home economics.
Civics not taught anymore.
Yeah.
You know, the government classes.
That's right. That's right. It's,
Yes, sir.
I was going to add that, well, two things. First, and I'll ask our caller to hold on. Did you say that Randolph was part of your district?
Randolph is. Yes.
The reason I ask is because I happened to hear an interview over the weekend from Dr. Vitti for the Detroit Public School District, and he was saying how Randolph, I guess, was the stellar at this point vocational center, and what they want to do is expand that to Bright Hop and some of the other vocational centers. But I was wondering, what are your thoughts about, like, maybe even because, like you say, you're concerned Henry Ford and the schools in the district being able to communicate with him because he says he seems to show an interest in developing those type of programs.
That's definitely on the agenda, is to sit down and speak with him about how we can best use Randolph. So definitely that would be the start of the whole conversation. Even with the ability to have the job center in Henry Ford, that's a start. I like to see it spread throughout DPS because I think that's very important for our young people to have somewhere to go and seek information about jobs and
Right.
and especially the resume writing and the interviewing skills. Because they use social media so much now, I think that's going to be most of their challenge, is to sit in front of someone, to speak intelligently, and to look someone in the eye, to understand that those are the important things when you're talking to someone in an interview setting.
I just find it appalling that cursive has been taken out of the curriculum as well. Well, phonics was taken out a long time ago. That was a mistake as well.
You know, I wonder also that when we talk about schools and the development of the student to make them more marketable, let's just say, in their whole career path or job path. Have you thought about, I guess, trying to, again, well, let me ask this even prior to that. Just for those who may not know, what would the role of a Wayne County Commissioner be? The scope of their work and what they're able to do?
That's a great question, and I get that question all the time. But I want to say first that elected officials, period, their job is to bring home resources and money to the district. That's the first job of any elected official. And you can use the power of your title to do that. And it doesn't necessarily have to directly be a function of a commissioner to get some of those things done. Because people ask, well, why are you talking about education? A commissioner has very little to do with education. But that's not really true. We have a lot of influence to influence those leaders like Dr. Vitti to do the right things and to push them towards efforts that's going to help that community or district. But the main budgets of the county that really impacts us all, first is the jail. Wayne County spends, like I said, about $400 million in jailing, in the whole mass incarceration. So we have a lot to do with jails, Wayne County. We have a lot to do with roads. Wayne County roads like Outer Drive and Finkel, Schaefer, 6 Mile, 7 Mile. Those are county roads. So if there's an issue with a county road, then you could call your commissioner and they could try to work that out for you. Then the other largest budget item is county parks. Although we don't have, we only have one county park. We don't have any in Northwest Detroit. That's something I want to look into. I think we have some areas that we could create a theme park. Once upon a time, we had Edgewater right in Northwest Detroit. But I'd like to see an area where we could actually have a space for maybe well, I just lost my thought.
Where's the county
But
park that we have?
that would be Chandler Park.
Chandler.
Yeah. But if we could have a theater, an amphitheater where you could go and sit in the park and have jazz entertainment. So those are the three main areas. But we oversee those budgets, and we oversee the budgets of the Wayne County executive, the clerk, Wayne County clerk, the Wayne County sheriff, the Wayne County Register of Deeds, and also the Wayne County treasurer.
Oh, okay. Oh, we got a caller on the line. Then we're going to take a break. Go ahead.
Hello, caller. You're on the air. Would you share your name and how you're viewing us, please?
DJ 8 Mile,
Thanks for calling.
TV 33 Comcast, Channel 91,
Yes.
UHPR. How y'all doing today?
We're doing fine. You have a comment or question?
Well, this comment goes to Ms. McCormick.
Okay.
Thank you, Ms. McCormick, for showing up at TV 33. You drove by my house about a month ago, and I asked you to go to TV 33, and you are there. So I want to say thank you.
You're
So
welcome.
bring by your yard sign, and I will help you a little bit with the campaign. Because most people don't know. But I've been asking candidates running for election to go to TV 33. Thank you, Ms. McCormick.
Thank
Remember
you.
that.
Thank you for your support. And I do remember him. He did tell me
Said
that
it.
too. And I told him, "Oh, I've been on TV 33 many times." And so, yeah.
Well, for this campaign.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much for calling in.
Okay, you all have an amazing day.
All right. You too.
Thank you.
Well, we're going to take a break right now, and I want you all to stay tuned to Feedback, a positive image production by Hood Research. And we shall be back momentarily. Feedback. Hi, this is Theo Broughton,
And I am Thabiti Mpinga,
inviting you to join us each Monday at 9 a.m. for Feedback.
a positive image production by Hood Research.
Encourage others to tune in each Monday on
Comcast Detroit, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, watch WHPR TV Network anywhere.
and take us along with you. Feedback, feedback, feedback. And we are back. Right now we have Jonathan Roberts with us, and he's going to give us an overview of a program here. And then we want to see if it can get any support from the county. Go ahead. Jonathan
course.
Roberts.
So thank you for having me on. So we are here really to discuss the impact of food labor in the city. When we talk about jobs, as Ms. McCormick did, I think we often are speaking to food service, we're talking about hospitality, and we're speaking about certain entertainment industries within the city, because that's where most of the job creation is. Unfortunately, within that industry, most of those jobs are low-paying jobs, so you're seeing people work for minimum wage. In many cases, people are working below minimum wage because they're tipped workers. And the purpose of the One Fair Wage campaign, which is the campaign I was previously working on, is to both illuminate that issue and also tie it back to historical legacies that have continually affected our communities within food and agriculture. So I think when we discuss restaurants, food service, I remember you were recently talking about the hepatitis outbreak. Now, part of the reason that you have these health crises and epidemics is because people who work in food service are denied often paid sick leave. So they have to come in sick whether or not they want to, because their job will be taken from them if they don't. And they are directly contacting your food. So the things that you place into your mouth, those food service workers have a direct responsibility for. But if we don't give them the opportunity to be healthy, then you see these outbreaks. The second issue is that when it comes to their ability to put food on their own tables. Now, in the city of Detroit, 1 in 2 households experiences poverty, right? So those statistics are even magnified greater if you work in the food service industry. So tipped workers across the state, 3 times as likely to experience poverty, twice as likely to rely on state assistance. So if we're already dealing with statistics that say 1 in 2 households are experiencing poverty, and you multiply, right, that probability by 3, right, almost every single food service worker in this city is under the poverty line. And I think part of the reason why it's so difficult for us to kind of move the needle on this issue is because we have all been conditioned to think about food labor as this low form of work, when really we know what that speaks to. It speaks to a legacy of slavery, right? Because the first food service workers, first agricultural workers in this nation were our ancestors, enslaved Africans. And they were workers. They weren't slaves. They were workers, but they were unpaid for their labor. So when it came time for the Emancipation Proclamation and for the 13th Amendment, this industry, instead of recognizing the humanity of workers who had been working for free for years, it instituted a system to make sure that we systematically devalue this type of work across all major cities, which is why you have movements like the Fight for 15, which is why you have movements that are trying to speak to why these workers deserve more, right? Food is fundamental to our communities, but it has been distorted in a way that makes us think that these are just jobs that anyone can pick up. Now, I've done food service work. That's part of the reason why I joined this organization, the One Fair Wage Campaign. Certainly doesn't require you to have a bachelor's degree, but it does require skills, and it does require a skill set, just like any job does. And when we recognize that, and we recognize that some workers make in this state, as little as $9.25 an hour, for tipped workers in this state, you can make as little as $3.52 an hour.
How do they get away with that? Do you know?
So the rationale behind this tipped minimum wage is that the employer will make up the difference if tips don't make up the difference. But in practice, so many cases of wage theft and wage violations come from this rule because managers and employers aren't keeping track of people's tips. In many ways, they want to take people's tips. So what you have is a system in where certain workers, many who are working women of color, right, who have to support children, they go into work, they work 40 hours, 40 plus hours a week. They might not even get considered for overtime, even if they work overtime. Then every 2 weeks, they get a stub that says this is not a paycheck because most, if not all of it, has to go to taxes. Because when you're working off for $3.52 an hour, that's not enough. It all gets taxed out. So you're relying on the generosity of whoever walks through the door. And we see what that does. We talk about this new movement to tackle sexual harassment. Well, what happens when you have working women in restaurants who have to rely on tips from customers, right? Who have to rely on the generosity of people who may not have the best intentions, right? Because we have this culture that the customer is always right, but sometimes the customer is harming workers.
Well, let me ask you this. There are different types of restaurants. They're at the more expensive restaurants. Do their workers make $2 an hour?
Yes.
I mean, where the meal is $100 to $200 a plate.
Exactly.
They make $2 an hour.
They make $3.52 an hour. And that's part of the issue is that we can go into a restaurant as customers and we can comment on the quality of the food, but we are never told about the conditions in the workplace. And I think it is absolute injustice to our community, which has been the backbone of so much of the way that this economy in the state of Michigan functions. For us to be this impoverished is completely unfair.
Well, I agree with you. And I think that all workers, if they're going to get a basic rate, they should all, whether they're in the restaurant business or not. But Monique Baker McCormick, as a Wayne County Commissioner, how would you weigh in on this issue?
Well, I think it's a travesty, to only make $3.25 an hour. I can't even.
I know.
It's unbelievable because
it is.
You cannot live off of that.
Right.
I mean, that's third world country.
Exactly. Not only that, Monique, listen to this. In some restaurants, the workers or waiters, waitresses are required to put their tips in a common pool. Right. Now, if one waitress or waiter is doing a grade A job and the other one is doing, this one is getting all of the tips, but has to put the tips in the pool, but yet they're going to be divided equally. That pits the employees against each other.
That does.
So-
and you know, Jonathan, when you talked about the spread of disease because people have to come to work
Sick.
sick, that is a major issue and one that we have to tackle. And I'll be willing to work with your organization to tackle that, because that's one of the reasons why the hepatitis A issue is so prevalent now, is because people have to go to work even when they're sick, and they spread it to other folks, you
Yeah.
know. And so anything I can do, I'm definitely on board.
Is there a contact number?
Yes, so you
Email, et cetera.
can contact the Worker Center, the main office line at 313-962-5020, and you can ask to speak with the executive director, which is Dr. Alicia Renee Ferris. She is spearheading the One Fair Wage campaign, which would raise the minimum wage for all workers in the state of Michigan. Because something that also isn't talked about much is that not just food service workers, but also childcare workers, many healthcare workers are making just at minimum wage. And they're still expected to take care of our children, they're expected to take care of our families, and they can't take care of their own. So she is really at the forefront of that battle.
Where are they located?
Okay.
We are located downtown Detroit, so right near the Opera House.
Okay, great.
And the telephone number again, please.
Again, it's 313-962-5020.
962-5020. 5020, right? 962-5020. Wow, that's. It just seems to me that if the legislators are passing laws in Lansing, they're not equal. If there's a group in the food services you mentioned who can be paid $3 an hour, and the difference between $3 an hour and $9.25 is left up to the owner manager of a business, well, we know how that is most likely turning out.
That's right. That's
And
right.
they have
He's
to
gonna
put-
take his cut.
And then, and then they have to pool tips to that. That creates a bad work environment. Hello, you're on the air with my guest this morning, Monique Baker McCormick, Wayne County Commissioner candidate, and Jonathan Roberts.
Why the hotels gonna do that? You got
Hot-
a lot of hotels that they got a low wage amount of money for the people that they get the tips. Plus, when they had the conventions, what they do at the hotel, whoever doing the convention,
Yes.
they'll leave maybe $1,000 for the worker. They got that. Plus, if they had 2 or 3 conventions right after each other, that's how they get paid. In other words, you'll get the tips plus the conventions. I'm in charge of the convention, and I said, well, I got 20 people working. I'm going to leave $3,000, then the hotel get that to them. Them restaurants downtown make too much money if you're paying $3 an hour. Because I know they don't. If you got a private restaurant, I know you can compete against a lot of the hotels down there. That's why so many foreigners be grabbing them jobs.
Oh, okay. That's some new information. Well, thank you for that. So now the workers in the hotels, do they make $3 an hour, or is it higher, or what? Oh,
So
wow, that's interesting.
I will say that the tipped minimum wage applies to anyone who receives gratuities at their job. So certain positions, for example, a bellhop, may or may not be tipped according to the payroll regulations of that hotel. But we also find that irrespective of whether they're tipped or non-tipped, hotel workers, maintenance workers are also some of the lowest paid professions in this state, who are usually under the poverty line. So I think even when we talk about $9.25 an hour, that's insufficient for people to live in and around the city where they're supposed to find work. So we're talking about all these jobs coming in, but if you can't afford to live in the place where you're working, then what does that speak to about how we are displacing people who look like us in favor of people who have gotten their wealth through ways that don't benefit our community?
And so, have you guys lobbied the state legislators, because they are the ones that actually create the laws
mess.
around that? So, have you talked to any legislators yourself directly?
So Stephanie Chang has always been a true advocate for workers in the state. But what we found is that the legislator that we have right now,
Republican,
it is impossible to pass this without going through a ballot initiative. So what has happened since last year is the creation of a ballot initiative which would raise the minimum wage for all workers in the state over a period of 4 years to $12 an hour, which we recognize as a pathway to a living wage for many workers. It would also phase out the tip minimum wage. So then tip workers would receive the same minimum wage as everyone else
Right.
on top of their tips, because we recognize that tips are an important part of the service industry, because as we mentioned, it indexes how well are you doing at your job, are you doing things correctly, can customers give you feedback, but that feedback shouldn't prevent you from putting food on the table for your children.
Right. Well, the other thing is, everybody that dines out, stays out, etc., does not tip according to the if you say
Minimum,
unspoken rules, shall we say?
15%.
So,
they don't-
right.
they
Yeah.
don't usually.
Some people are still paying 10%. Some people don't pay anything. And if they don't get whatever service they think they should, then they may not tip at all. So anyway, I just think it should be equal across the board, like you're saying.
And the customer volume fluctuates as well, so every
That
day
is
might
right.
be a good day.
Yes, as Speedy says, the customer volume fluctuates. Right. So it may be a good day today and not a good day tomorrow. And we have a lot of people who left to go to Mackinac this past weekend. The volume was probably low around here as well. So I do understand that. Only thing I'm not accepting is $12 instead of 15, because that seems like that puts two different groups. One camp over here saying should be $15 an hour, and now you're saying 12 over 4 years. Now, has
will-
that gone on the ballot yet? Did you collect enough signatures?
Yes, and I will
Okay.
say that D15 does support our ballot initiative, because
Okay.
we are treating this not as the final step,
It's
but
just
again
a
as a
step.
pathway, right?
Right.
If
A
we
step.
can't get to 12, then there's no way we can get to 15.
Mm.
So we've been working very closely with D15 to make sure
Okay.
that we are in concert with one another,
Okay.
because ultimately we're fighting for the same issue. It's not necessarily about the amount, it's about the fact that people deserve living wage jobs.
I agree, but is it going to be on in August or November?
It's going to be on the November ballot, so slightly over 370,000 signatures
Signatures.
were collected and submitted to the state. They're going through a review period right now, but it's expected that it will clear.
And how many are you required to have?
The requirement is around 253,000. So
Okay, so you got
we're
100,000 more.
over 100,000 over that, over that benchmark, which
That's
to us
good.
is good cushion.
Oh, yeah, I think so too.
That's great.
Right, right. Now, you had something else you wanted to add to that?
In relation to
Well,
this
you-
effort, or
Yes.
just that I'm on board, and whatever I
good.
can do to help. You know, I
Okay.
think we all, most of us anyway, started in, that arena where you have to start somewhere. But we I think when I was in high school, the minimum wage was about $7, and that was 30 years ago. So we're not keeping up with inflation, that's for sure. So we definitely have to do something different, and I'm on board to help.
Okay.
Thank you.
Now, we had talked about some of the responsibility of Wayne County commissioners, and you had talked about the problem with the jail, and supposedly the new king in town, Dan Gilbert, has started throwing his weight around, and he wants to purchase the jail. Actually, I was told that he wants to use that site for construction equipment, which means that he will have all of the work that has been done so far, torn up, carted away.
2 minutes.
Okay.
And right now, my understanding, just because I'm not privy to all of the actual plans, is that they're doing a swap, and Dan Gilbert is purchasing the existing site, and then the county will be moving to Warren, off of Warren and 75.
Right. Taking a DDOT building.
Right, and the issue of environmental issues were some of the concerns, because that is where the incinerator is, the city incinerator, and there were concerns about how it will impact the inmates, and not only the inmates but the community in that area.
Well, the folks in Midtown probably want to use that as an excuse to get rid of it. How you feel about the RTA?
Well, that's something we need in our city and in our county. We do need a mass transit system, and I think at least Warren Evans is trying to put something out there so that we can expand and grow the region.
Right.
I think is of major importance, and we have to do something other than just the queue line. That's,
oh, please.
I know, that's a joke.
They need to pack the toy train up and send it to Cleveland.
Exactly.
In the meantime, how can people get in touch with you?
You can reach me, Monique Baker McCormick, candidate for Wayne County Commissioner, at 313-268-8802. My office is located at 20169 James Cousins. And you can also go to thisdetroitneighborhood.com. thisdetroitneighborhood.com.
Give the telephone number again.
313-268-8802.
All
And
right.
thank you, Theos, for having me today.
You're welcome. My guests today have been Monique Baker McCormick, candidate for Wayne County Commission, and Jonathan Roberts. And we definitely need to be concerned about our service workers, because, as you know, in addition to as human beings needing water, we also need food, and we need to have people who are able to take care of themselves, their families, because they're taking care of us as we deal with them in the area of food. I want to say, lastly, that it's not necessary for you to know everything. What is necessary is for you to know how to find what you need when you need it. We encourage you to join Hood Research as we gather as much information as we can to share with you to help us all make better informed decisions. We hope that you tune in again next week. Thank you for tuning in today.